So, Spirit has a question for you. I just heard it. And it came through very quickly after I just stopped recording for the last video. But it was like, have you been choosing your partners? Or have you been allowing God to choose your partners? What would you say? Have you been allowing God to choose your partners, or have you been choosing your partners? Because a lot of times when we choose our partners, we be missing things. We just be looking at what we see. We be like, ooh, what's that? We be looking at the wrong. We don't be looking at, it's not wrong, but we don't be looking at the whole. We need the whole. We need the whole of them, not just a piece. Okay? So, it's like, again, as I mentioned in the last reading, it's important that you know yourself. You know why it's important that you know yourself? Because you'll have opinions. You know, you'll have an idea of what makes sense to you. Even if it's not even right, it's still your thoughts that belong to you. You know, and that alone is precious to have in a relationship, because you don't end up like a bot. I feel like when you don't have your own opinion of things and own thoughts, you become like a bot, and you just kind of like go along with the ways of the world, and you don't have much substance when you don't know yourself. You don't have much substance. And people that don't know themselves, they complain a lot because they don't understand anything that's happening to them or around them. And they also have a tendency to blame others instead of taking ownership of their own life and figuring out, like, what can I do to change this? Because me just continuing to point fingers at others for what they may not have done is not helping me. So, right? So one should know themselves before they get into a relationship. Like, that's why self-love is so important when it comes to getting in a relationship, because you know when to evaluate yourself and how to make adjustments to become better than you were yesterday. You know, and you want to, if you want someone that's good, you have to be good. Even though it's not always like that. Some people are like horrible and they expect to have like the best person in America. And that does not match at all, right? It doesn't make sense. So if you want someone that's like everything that you could ever want, you should be that too. You should be that too. And that's going to give you the confidence to know that you are enough. It gives you the confidence to know that you are enough when you know how much work you put into yourself. Now, if you feel like you haven't been doing enough, that means that you have to get going so that you can build that confidence up to feel like you are someone that should be valued, because you bring value. You know, you are valuable. Allowing God to choose your partner is very powerful. And the reason why I say you need to know yourself first is because that's why it's not good to be just in a bunch of different relationships and you don't know yourself, because you're gonna end up, I mean, once a baby gets involved, it gets real tangly. And then if you don't end up staying with the person, it gets more tangly and confusing. And then all that distraction, because that just becomes a distraction, it takes you away from the purpose, or at least one of the purposes, because I feel like there could be a few different routes, of course, that one can take. But it'll take you away from reaching the purpose. Many different purposes. That was interesting that I said that. I mean, many different purposes. Maybe yeah, I guess that could be a thing if someone is able to pull from different dimensions of themselves. That's when somebody knows how to do a bunch of different stuff, I think. So you use everything that you have and you include it into your purpose. I think that's what that's giving me, because it messed with my brain for a second. It messed with my mind. But yeah, that's when you're like quantum leaping into different dimensions. Like, oh, I could do that over here. Let me take that and bring it over here right now with me. So I can use that right here, you see? Like that. Straight like that. Okay. See, that's another one. That's one of my dimensions. All right. There's power in allowing God to choose your spouse, because you will only choose someone that is in alignment with you and your destined place, the place that God has prepared for you. When you know that, your whole life changes. The whole life changes, because a lot of distractions and unnecessary annoyances, they can't even come through. They can't even come see you, because you're going to see it before it comes. You're like, oh, no, no, no. You can't come over here. My doors are closed, locked, and sealed from those like you, because I know who you are. Trying to come over here and stop my shine. Can't stop the sun from shining. Now, back up. Got shit to do. And that is how you allow God to choose your spouse. Wow, wasn't that easy? Things be easy yet so hard. Easy yet so hard. Because it sounds so easy, right? But that don't mean that it'll be easy for one to actually do that if they're still stuck in a certain mindset. But as soon as you respect the wisdom, when you respect the wisdom, you listen to it. You don't just let it just be there and act as if you don't know what's up. You know it, and you like, oh, so I'm going to use that. So I know what that means. So I'm going to use it in my life, and I'm going to act accordingly. When you do that, and when you allow God in, because you have to allow the Creator into your life. Because when you allow, you're using your will to ask the Creator for help for you, or help in order for you to create your own world. Who's better to ask? You ask the Creator how to create your own world. Who's better to ask? Ain't nobody better than that. Ain't nobody better. Ain't nobody better. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, you just really think about that. Like, wow. Ask the Creator how to create. You're going to have some wonderful creations. Wow. So, work on knowing thyself through action and through edification, learning, and creating your own understanding from what you've learned. Like, practice abstract thinking. Okay, so I just read this passage, or read this short book or story. I don't care what it is, movie. I don't know. Whatever you just analyzed. And then you are able to step back and look at what you just experienced. And what is the, if you could put together a few words, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, what have you learned? And it doesn't just have to be 2 or 3 sentences. It could be as long as you want it to be. But what was the wisdom that you got from the experience? If you start doing that on your own, you become a philosopher. Because you're making sense of something and simplifying your understanding as a reminder for self and others if they are exposed or if you share what you have taken from what you just experienced. You know, it's like that's how you create, that's how you philosophize things. That's where that comes from. It comes from creating your own understanding after looking at, there was this movie that I watched and I can't remember what it's called right now. I can't remember what it's called. I watched it a while ago. I don't even want to get too deep in it. I'm not even going to go there, but it's really the simple fact of analyze experiences in your own life and find an understanding. Attach what you took from it. No matter what it is, what did you take from that experience that you had? What did you take from the movie that you just watched? What did you take from how you witnessed someone treat their child? Anything. What did you find from that? What, you know? That's all I'm saying. You know, do what you want with it. Or don't do anything at all. Me, I'm just a messenger. You know, Spirit tells me things and then I tell you. I'm just trying to help you to see yourself through. Because it's dark. And hell is hot. And you're going to need a light to walk through the darkness. The thing is that the light is inside of you. Yeah. And it's dark in there too. Anyway. Everything you do, do it with love. Always remember the creator is in you and the magic is too because you're magic. I'll see you in the next one.